thank you for joining us today. My name is Ann Mitchell, and I'm an account manager here at RunSignup. And today's webinar is on RunSignup reporting tools. We'll get started with the webinar shortly, but first, I'd like to go over a few quick housekeeping notes to keep everything running smoothly. You will have the ability to minimize or maximize the control panel using the arrow button that is typically in the upper left or right-hand corner, depending on your computer. As for questions, even though attendees will be muted throughout the session, we do encourage you to submit them using the question pane on the control panel. We'll get to them as time allows. If your question does not get answered during today's session, somebody will follow up with you. Within 24 to 48 hours, a recording of this webinar will be shared with all registrants, so no need to take notes if you just prefer to watch and learn. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to James Armington, our Senior Account Manager here at RunSignup, who will be presenting today's webinar. Take it away, James.
Thanks, Ann. Hey, everybody, welcome in. Let's dive into the wide and wonderful world of reporting on RunSignup. You know, we've got great registration tools and ticketing tools, but they're only as good as their reporting that's available for you, so you can pull the data that you need to pull so that you can track your participants and financials and donations the way you need to do it. So today we're going to go over a lot of the reporting that's available here on our platform. We're going to get into the dashboard reports, participant reports, fundraising reports, marketing reports, financial reports, and some of the reporting that's related to our race day tools, things like the check-in app and RaceJoy. So we'll just kind of start right at the first level. The first screen that you see when you access your race dashboard or your admin backend is your race dashboard. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some of the quick hits on dashboard reporting. We did do an extensive dive into dashboard reporting back in June. So if you haven't seen that and you're interested after this webinar, please go to our blog and our YouTube and pull up that information. I'm sure you'll find some use in it. But today we'll just kind of touch on just some quick things that I like to talk about when it comes to the dashboard reporting. So the screen here that we're looking at is found by clicking that signups button that's in the upper right hand corner of the dashboard, right next to your race website button. This report can show you a quick snapshot for your registrations in your race, how they're doing this year, how they're comparing to last year's race and the year before. This is a great spot to get, like I said, I always like to say this is a quick snapshot. If you want detailed reporting, there are other places to pull that we'll cover later. This is just a good first stop if you're just trying to check in on how your race is doing or how a particular event is doing. So by clicking on that arrow icon on the signups button, you can open up your detailed view here to view all this information, registrations by race, registrations by event, and registrations within the last 7 days, the last 30 days, and then also with however much time is remaining between today's date and the race date. You can also get a quick snapshot on total dollar amount, the total dollars in your race at the bottom of that report. Looking underneath that section, you can kind of see our what we like to call our graphical reports or dashboard graphs. In my opinion, this is one of the most overlooked kind of sections of RunSignup reporting. It's easy to overlook it because you see it every time you're in here, but there's a lot of great stuff you can do with these graphical reports. We're all familiar with the line graph there that kind of shows your page views and your signups and your transaction dollars over a period of time. The date range toggle above that that line graph will allow you to customize the date range that you're seeing there. You can view it from 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, or a custom date range if you want to look at a period of up to 90 days between a certain period of time. I kind of show you how you're tracking, how many visitors to the website you're getting, things like that. The tabs across the top of that line graph, I won't go into detail on because, like I said, we did go into that back in June, but you can pull more specific information regarding your transactions, demographics, and the registrations tab is also really useful to get more information on your registrations. Directly underneath that line graph are our source kind of links. That includes your referral link that can track kind of the last website that somebody was on before they visited your website. The custom link in there relates to custom source tracking codes that can be built within the dashboard, and I like to use those for marketing and Facebook ads and things like that. You can create a specific link that you can include on your Facebook ad and then track the actual performance and activity related to that link. So it's a great way to check on eyeballs from your ads. And then underneath that, you can pull information for how your emails are doing. If your emails were sent through email v2, you can see kind of performance from those. Directly under that section are some of our charts that are totally customizable. By default, we show you registrations, transaction dollars, donation dollars. We've all seen those. But this is all customizable, and I don't see enough race directors using that. And so I'd encourage you to click that gray customize button above those graphs to explore how to add quick charts and quick pieces of information that are relevant to you specifically. So you can get the data that you want without having to go through a bunch of clicks to pull reports. So, I mean, this is just a great way to give you kind of just, it's like, making a house a home. This is how you make your race dashboard your home, by customizing your graphs to show you the data that you want. And then all the tabs on the left will allow you to, down that black bar there, that will allow you to navigate to different parts of the race dashboard to pull the various reports that are available in RunSignup. So we'll go ahead and kick off the deep dive into reports by looking at everybody's favorite participant report. This is available under participants, view participants, and that will allow you to pull a list of the participants in your race and kind of customize the information that you're seeing there. This is the primary way to view the participants in your race. So when you're looking for reporting and data that you've gathered from your participants, this is kind of your first stop. On the right-hand side of a participant record, so as you can see, here's my test record with James Armington there. On the right-hand side, there are a couple of buttons. These buttons can be used for participant management. If you need to update a participant's information, say they misspelled their name and you're not using one of our participant information management tools, you can edit it for them by clicking that green edit button. And you can also perform some kind of more advanced management tools or steps, I guess, by clicking the green manage button. Things that exist in the manage button are, issuing a person a refund or deferring them or transferring them to a different event. Things like that, those are all possible within the participant report using those tabs. So there's a couple of, when you pull this report, by default, it'll show you just some generic information, but often we need to customize these reports to show us exactly what we want to see. So the first step towards customizing a report is by clicking the blue search change event button at the top of that report. This will allow you to configure your report to show you exactly the participants that you're looking for. Using the drop-down box on the upper left-hand side of the search common fields area, you can configure which events you're looking at and also which years of participants you're looking at. So say I want to pull last year's 5K participants, I could do that by clicking that drop-down and then selecting the event from last year. And this would then pull up the participants from last year. So benefit for renewing your race. We keep all that information archived so you can access it later. So the search common fields tab, which is the default tab that you see when you click the search change event tab, will show you just a couple of fields, bib number, first name, last name to search by, but you can get a more kind of detailed search by clicking the search all fields tab directly to the right of it. Inside of this tab, there are a number of more advanced ways to search for participants, whether it be by gender, the date they registered, bib numbers, reserved entry codes, group IDs, you name it. The most common thing, or actually the most useful thing that I use this tab for, is by searching on registration status. You can see that drop down on the right-hand side of my image. By default, in the participant report, we're just showing you the active participants. These are the folks that we're expecting to show up on race day. These are the ones that have not been refunded or deferred. But because of our tools on RunSignup, participants can manage their registration in a number of ways. Maybe they've claimed a refund, maybe they've deferred, things like that, or you've deleted them or removed them from the race. They won't appear on the participant search by default. So one way to configure it to search for those is by clicking the Search All Fields tab, and then click the registration status drop-down box, and configuring your search to look at the other participants who maybe aren't no longer active in the race. Directly to the right of the search change event button at the top of the participant report is our report options button. So once I've configured my participant report to pull the participants that I'm looking for, now I'll use the report options button to customize my view and see exactly the data that I want to add to my report. So by default, when you click customize view, we'll show you a common columns to display, very similar to the search change event tool, where it's just a handful of like common things like t-shirt size and address and things like that. But if you want to search through all of the data that you can possibly add to your report, click the Pick from All Columns tab, and then you'll see a list of all the different data points that we collect on participants that you can potentially add to your report. So you can add things to your report by clicking any of those items and then updating your report to add that column to your participant report. So this is a way to customize the report. We found the participants we're looking for. Now I want to find the data that I'm looking for, and this is how you do it. You can also customize this report by, at the very bottom of the Pick Common Columns to Display, there's a toggle to make a report the default report that you see when you're logging in. So if you have a certain piece, a certain report that you want to see every time you click the participant report, you can configure the settings under Customize View, make that your default report, and then you will see that report every time you log in. This is specific to the user, so you can feel confident to make this your default report and not, bother someone else if they're not dealing with, fundraising and they don't want to see that. They'll see whatever report that they have marked as default, or just the standard reporting. So that's a handy tool to kind of speed up your reporting and kind of your work with your participants. So we've found the participants we're looking for using the search change event button. We've customized the report using Customize View under the report options. Now I want to kick this report out to an Excel so that I can work with it offline. And you'll do that using the export options button. So clicking that button, you'll see a variety of different ways that you can customize your export and pull it in the format that you want. I normally pull things as a CSV because that's the type of file that can be imported back into the system in, whether it was a custom list or in other ways. So I always usually use a CSV, but you're welcome to kick that into Google Sheets or as a PDF or kind of any other way to do it. At the bottom of those options, the export options, you'll see a MailChimp export, which will set up your report to be used for MailChimp, and also the Build Bib Labels tool, which allows you to quickly build, labels for your bibs or your packets or things like that. Just all handy stuff to use for either, working in Excel the way you like to, or working with other third-party email services like MailChimp, or just getting ready for race day. As a senior account manager, I work with races, every day of all sizes, and so I have a couple of things that I've seen over my days that I can share with you. One of my pro tips is the hidden fields column, which is under the report options button. By default, we're going to show you in the customized view area just most if not all of the sections that you can add to a report. But there is some stuff in there that is not clickable or addable until you search for it in hidden fields. So using hidden fields, you can add different pieces of information that you want to add to your report. Like check-in app information or somebody's race postponement decisions. If you guys have had to postpone a race and you used our postponement tool, you can click on those different pieces of data and add them as selectable items within Customized View. I use this for check-in app. So the check-in app, if I add those fields to my report, I can then click on them in the Customized View section, and I can see when somebody was checked in and by whom in the participant report. So it can be pretty handy. It's also a great way to check to see if a participant is anonymous in your race. I get that question a lot. People ask why they're not visible in results, or why can't they find themselves for virtual results uploads. And sometimes it's because they've marked themselves as anonymous in their profile and they don't want to be displayed publicly. So you can add that column to your report and see if that's the reason why someone is not displaying publicly on your race website. The fourth and final button up there on the top of the participant report is Save as Custom List and Send Email. This is relating to our new, I guess it's new, it feels like it's new, but I guess it's been out for a couple of years now, for our email V2 tools. And so once you've built a report and you have the participants that you want and the data that you want, you can save that report as a custom list and automatically send an email to it. So it's a great way to configure the report with the data that you want, customize it, and send an email to it, and then you can access those data points that you've added to your report as placeholders within your email. So, if I want to send somebody their fundraising total, or or use any other piece of data that I've added to that report, I can do so using the placeholders because that was in my custom list. It's a great way to quickly send emails to your participants and customize lists instead of having to go through an import and map and all that kind of stuff. So I like this tool a lot for communication with your participants. So we'll move beyond the participant report, and we'll look at some of the other reporting that we have available that's related to participants. The participant info changes report exists under reports, participants, and participant info changes. And this report will show you when participant information, names, addresses, emails, dates of birth, have been changed or updated. This report will show those updates, whether they were made by the participant or by a race director. As you can see here in this image, I changed my name from James to Jim, and it tells you when I did that and who did it. So it's a good way to kind of do some kind of triage checking if someone is, trying to change their name through their participant info to give their registration to somebody else. You can track that and see it. You can configure this report by date to kind of see when things happen. So it's a handy tool to kind of check on your participants. Moving to the reports section, the participants area of the reports section, we'll talk about the not registered reporting. Not registered reporting means not active. So the guys that are going to show up in these reports are people who have taken some sort of action, participant management action, and are no longer active. So things like folks that have been refunded will appear in the refund report. Folks that have been transferred, whether it was an event transfer or a race transfer or a participant transfer, you can find those in the transfer report. And you can also pull your deferred registrants by pulling the deferred registrations report. A couple of the pieces down there, the dropout report and the incomplete registrations report, can help you kind of track people who visited your site but didn't register. So those are handy tools. I like the deferred registrations report a lot because if you use that in conjunction with our deferral via race transfer tools for deferral claiming, I can not only can I see a list of the participants that have deferred, but I can also check and see who has claimed their deferral and registered for this year and who has not. So it's a great way to check up on the status of your deferrals and kind of see how many are still left out there from last year that deferred but haven't completed their deferrals. Under the not registered report, we have our giveaway report. Pretty straightforward stuff here. We're talking about giveaways. We're talking about the things that you set up on step 4 of the Race Wizard. A lot of times this is a t-shirt, but it could be a variety of different things. This report will show you how many of each giveaway type has been requested or ordered during registration, the genders who have selected it. If you have inventory set up for your giveaways, it'll show you how many of a certain giveaway item are remaining, and then show you how much money you've raised or earned or given away, in this case of this example, through those giveaways. Remember, giveaways can be set up with a positive dollar amount or a negative dollar amount. Most common ways that I see that set up is a no shirt discount of like $5. Don't get a shirt, we'll give you $5 off your registration, something like that. So all that can be pulled under the giveaway report, and you can download those reports using that blue download as a CSV button. Giveaways are part of registration, they're free, but we also sometimes sell things during registration, and those are called add-ons. Add-ons could be parking. It could be a VIP add-on. It could be, some sort of pint glass that you're selling, things like that. Whatever you're selling as an add-on in your report can be pulled in the add-ons report. So when you visit this report, it'll show you a list of all available and all archived add-ons in your race. And you can track the amount of money that you've raised from that, how many have been ordered, and whether or not it's available or not based off of the add-on dates. So if there's an add-on not showing up and you want a quick place to check it, do so here. You can see the available column. Each of these items on the add-on report can be clicked on and drilled into to give you a more specific report on that add-on. So if I want to take a look and see, how my VIP shipping add-on is doing, I can click on that and I can get a more detailed view of that specific add-on and then download that add-on download a report on that add-on by clicking the green download add-ons for registrations button at the bottom of that. This report can be configured by date and it can also be configured by registration status, which I've just talked about. So we'll just go ahead and skip this slide here. Purchases report and return report for add-ons. This will show you kind of more financial information on the add-on. You can kind of see the transaction ID that's associated with an add-on, how much was purchased, and the registration ID associated with it. And the returns report will show you add-ons that have been kind of removed or returned to your race if you've enabled that option. We sell things with add-ons when we want them tied to a registration. We can also sell things through our store tool, which can be offered both in and outside of registration. I typically like to use that tool when I want to offer, visitors to my website the ability to purchase items that we're selling, not just registrants. So your store report can be configured to track your store items. And it works in a very similar way to the add-ons report, where you can kind of view what was purchased, how many were initially offered, and how many are currently available. And then you can track your orders by date at the top, and then download it to a CSV in Excel by clicking the blue download as a CSV button. If you're a triathlon or you're working with triathlons, you probably spend some time in here. Our USAT reports, we've got two of them. There's a waiver report and then a membership summary report. The waiver report can be configured to look by event. It can be configured to look by year, and it can show you the date that somebody signed a waiver, the version of the waiver that was signed, and the IP address of a participant's waiver. That's great for checking on your USAT waivers. And then the membership summary will show you how many memberships have been sold in your race. And remember, all this USAT money that we transact goes right to USAT. You guys don't have to do anything with that. We handle that by getting it to USAT. This just kind of gives you some visibility to the membership sales in your race, and kind of make sure that's all working great. The last thing we'll touch on in this section, we'll go back to the participant report for a tool that, again, I feel is underutilized. So I'd like you guys to be aware of it, and that is the saved reports option. And this is available under the report options button. You can see here on my screenshot, we're looking at save report. When you configure a report that you like, you can save it and then name it, and then access it under reports and saved reports. And this allows you to quickly access reports that are that have been saved, and give you kind of the ability to pull them quickly again without having to go and reconfigure your report. The other benefit to saving your reports is giving them access, giving people who are not race directors access to that report. I see this a lot with groups and teams or charities or things like that. If they need to see participant information that's not readily available to non-race directors, you can configure a report for them, save it under the saved reports, and then use secure access and info sharing to assign access to that report to somebody who is not a race director. And this allows you to kind of skip a step of having to send an email every month, or every day, or however often you speak with your partners. But it allows you to give them the ability to come in whenever they like and pull this report that you've given them access to. So it can be a really, really great time-saving tool, and also kind of make them feel, your partners feel like they have an easy way to work with you by pulling the data that they need when they want it. So that can be used, saved reports, and then setting up save report access under secure access and info sharing. Whew, it's a lot of talking. Cool, so we'll move to fundraising reports now. We're kind of moving beyond the participants, and we'll look at some of the ways you can pull reporting for your fundraisers and your donors. So the first stop, like setting up fundraising, the first stop is to set up donations. So the first stop here is to talk about the donation report. Donation report can be accessed under reports, donation reports. And on this report, you can configure the donations that you want to view. By default, we'll just show you all the donations in a particular donation period. But donation periods are related to, in most cases, they're related to the year of your race. Every time you renew a race, you'll kind of renew your donation period. So you can use the donation period toggle to look at previous year's donations. But you can configure this report to look for specific donations. So if you know a donor's first and last name, or first name or email address, you can search for your donations using those tools. You can search for donations by date, by amount, or by fundraiser. I use that a lot if I want to see donations that came in for a particular fundraiser. I'll put the fundraiser's name in that fundraiser box and then search for it. By default, we're only showing you the active donations. So these are the donations that have come in but are not and have not been refunded or cleared. But you can use the donation status dropdown to search for donations in other settings or other statuses, whether they've been refunded, cleared, or removed. At the bottom of the donation report, where we see a list of donations, this occurs underneath the toggle that I just displayed. You'll see a running list of all the donations that are part of your report. So you can see the donor's name, the amount they donated, processing fees, things like that, what fundraiser they're associated with. If they donated to a charity, you can pull that. You can also resend their donation confirmation emails using this report. So that's great if someone's like, hey, I didn't get my donation confirmation email. I donated $100 on Thursday. You can configure your search, pull that up, find that donation, and then resend the confirmation email using that resend confirmation email button. You can also click the blue edit button and then update information associated with that donation. This is most commonly used when someone makes a donation but doesn't attribute it to their friend's fundraiser. You can use that fundraiser drop-down box that exists within the blue edit button and assign that donation to a specific fundraiser, or change their on behalf of, or mark it as anonymous, whatever. So there's a little bit of donation management that can happen here under the donation report using that blue edit button. There's a couple buttons that exist at the top of the search area. The actions button is what you'll use to download your report to a kind of workable format. Again, CSV, XLSX, Google Sheets, something like that. This will be how you can kick it out into a workable format. At the bottom of that drop-down box, you can also set up your donation summary emails. So if you and your race staff want to receive summary emails of the donations that have come in your race, either daily or weekly, you can set those up there and configure who receives them, and allow those donation summary emails to go out to those individuals. So it's a great way to stay on top of your donations by involving the people who need to see that stuff. So moving outside of the donation report, we'll talk about the fundraising report that exists under fundraising reports and fundraisers and team fundraisers. This is your primary way to pull reporting on your fundraising. We can configure this by donation period, just like the donation report, but you can also configure it by fundraiser type, whether it's team or individual. Charities, if you're using charities, you can look at fundraisers that are related to specific charities, and you can also search by specific fundraisers by entering their name up there. And then the display that you see here on your screen will show you the fundraiser information that you've requested, how much money they've received, how many donations they've received, what's been collected, things like that. You can also, in this very similar way to the donation report, you can click that blue edit button to conduct some fundraiser management. If you need to change someone's name, or if you need to update some information associated with their fundraiser on the back end and they don't know how to do it using the manage tools on their fundraiser, you can do it for them using that blue edit button. At the top of the fundraiser report, there's a couple of buttons. There's the actions button, which will allow you to add a fundraiser or import a batch of fundraisers if you need to manually do that. That exists there. It also exists at the bottom of the page, but you can also click the green reports button to go to some of the more advanced fundraising reports that exist on our system without having to go back to the dashboard and find your path. You can just pull those up right there pretty quickly. One of those buttons there within the actions button is, or the reports button, is the report generator. And so the report generator allows you to be a bit more precise with your fundraising reporting. By default, we just show you a list of all the fundraisers and you can configure it by name and search through it. But if you want to pull specific fundraisers of specific types and get information like that, you can use the fundraising report generator. And like everything else, you can configure your donation period to look at this year's donations or last year's, but you have a couple of different options here that you can configure. The report type will either show captains or top fundraisers. Captains just show you your team captains in your race, and top fundraisers will show you all of the individual fundraisers. And you can configure those to show different pieces of information, whether you want to look by team size for the teams or the donation amount, and then configure how many fundraisers you want to look at. Specifically talking about the top fundraisers report, if I want to see my top 25 fundraisers by donation amount, I can use the report generator, configure that, and then update it. And then with the captain's report, I can change my report details to show all of my captains' personal information, their contact information, things like that, or other different editing tools there. So there's a couple of ways to configure the fundraising reports using the fundraiser report generator to give you the data that you want to see in a format that you want to see it in. Once you've kind of picked your report and the way that you want to see it, you can click that green preview report button that exists at the bottom of the editing tools to kind of get a sample of what your report would look like and kind of view the data. And when you're happy with that report and it's showing you what you're looking for, you can click the blue generate report button and kick that out into an Excel format so that you can work with it offline. Because our fundraising tools are pretty robust, we have some great kind of incentive tools to encourage fundraising. One of them is fundraising rewards, and that would be, if somebody's created a fundraiser during registration and you want to incentivize people to reach a certain threshold, when they reach that threshold, we can issue them an automatic refund directly to their registration. So the fundraiser refund report will show you a list of the fundraisers that have earned that report or that refund, and when it was issued and how much it was issued for. Fundraiser refunds are only available if somebody has a linked registration ID, and you can check that using the fundraiser report by clicking the blue edit button and then looking on the right-hand side of the fundraiser's details to see if it was linked to a registration ID and also if they applied for a fundraiser refund. So sometimes you'll get questions of people saying, hey, I didn't get my refund, and it's because, well, when they created their fundraiser, they didn't say, yeah, I wanna receive a refund when I hit this amount, or they created their fundraiser outside of registration and it's not linked to a registration ID. So you can use that blue edit button to edit that information. You can add a registration in there for them to tie a fundraiser to a registration, but once you do that, it cannot be undone, so make sure it's correct. And you can pull that registration ID using your participant report. The other way that people kind of use fundraising is by encouraging fundraiser minimums, and that's covered in some of our fundraising blogs. But say I want to offer a free registration, so you can register for my race for free, but you have to raise $500, and that's your minimum. You can use the fundraiser minimums report to pull a list of how your fundraisers who have minimums associated with their fundraiser are doing. So you can see the fundraisers that have met their requirements, the fundraisers that have not met their requirements, and fundraisers whose teams have met their requirement, things like that. So you can pull a list of the people who are and how they're doing on their minimums. The actions button at the bottom of the report can be used to send reminder emails to your fundraisers who have minimums and encourage them to continue fundraising and reach their minimums. If you saved credit cards during registration, which is a checkbox that's available in the fundraising setup, you can choose to charge your registrants the difference between what they fundraised and what the minimum is. So if you want to bring your fundraisers up to the minimum after the race day, after the race is over and everything's all said and done, you'll use that actions button at the bottom of the report to do that. Great. So we've talked about participants and fundraising and donations. Let's talk a little bit about some of our marketing reports. And everyone knows that marketing reports go hand in hand with kayaking. So we're just going to include that image there and just move on. One of our tools that you can find in the marketing reports is our referral report. And we talk a lot about referrals in registrations. It's a great way to turn all of your participants into ambassadors for your race by encouraging them to share out a special link and have their friends register through that link. And you can set it up so that if 5 folks come in through that link, we can issue them an automatic registration refund once they hit that threshold. So using the referral report, you can kind of track and see how your participants are using the referral tools and kind of who has done what. So by default, we can look at the referral report type referral codes and look at each individual referral code that's been issued to participants and track their progress. You can customize this report by date and event, and or look for a specific code by using the referral code box. That's all kind of straightforward stuff, but the report at the bottom is kind of the meat and potatoes of that, where you can kind of track that information. Using the if you change the report type to referred registrations, you can use those green buttons that appear on the right to manually add registrations to a code. So if somebody's friend registered but didn't use their code, you can manually assign their code to that person so they get credit for it. And then you can trigger a refund check for those that have had manual adjustments to their code to see if that pushed them over the limit. You can trigger a registration refund check, and that will help them receive the benefits for their referrals. The other piece that lives in the marketing reports is our coupons report. And this one, I know we all use coupons. It's probably one of the most widely used tools on our platform. So knowing how to customize and configure this report is really important. Some of the default report settings here are, use date. So if I want to see coupons used from a certain date, I can see that. If I want to see coupons used until a certain date, I can do that. I can search for a specific coupon by entering that coupon into the coupon box, or I can search for coupons that were created on or before certain dates, or coupons that expired on or before certain dates. There's using the report type, you can configure this to look for an overall coupon summary, which will show you kind of a long list of how information on how your race has been using coupons in general. So that just shows you information on kind of all coupons that have been used, or you can configure it by summary by coupon to look at specific coupons and the data that they provide. Underneath the configuration settings is your kind of your summary reports. This is kind of what I was just talking about. This is showing an overall coupon summary. So it shows you how many coupons are in your report, the total discounts, the total uses, the registration details, like how many of your registrations have used a coupon, and a lot of great information to kind of track how your coupons are doing overall. You also get a pretty cool bar graph there for a little graphical representation if you're a visual person and you want to see kind of how much of your coupons are related to certain coupons in your race. And then on the right-hand side, you can kind of see each individual coupon and how many times they've been used and what the total discount amount is for that coupon. The summary by coupon display will show you exactly that, just the usage for each coupon in your race, how much has been discounted, how much of a percentage off that coupon was, how many registrations have come in with that coupon, and the percentage of your people who have used that coupon are. So some good stuff there. And then you can export that to a CSV at the bottom using the download all as CSV. That'll download your report out into an Excel that you can work with. Here's another pro tip from me would be that's the tag feature. This is another highly underutilized tool in coupons. And the tag feature allows you to add tags to your coupons as you're creating them. So you can see that bottom image there. That's the display of like the coupon builder. There's a tag box there that allows you to write in tags for coupons. So the best example for this would be, if I'm creating a handful of sponsor coupons and I'm going to issue them out to my different sponsors, I can add the sponsors tag to the coupon, to each of those coupons. And then in the coupons report, I can search by that tag. So in effect, if I sent out 10 different sponsor coupons to 10 different sponsors, I can quickly use my report and pull a report on that sponsor tag to just quickly pull all 10 of those coupons without having to do any Excel backflips or kind of look through and say, oh, that one's a sponsor code, that one's not, that one is, that one's not, and do all that math. Let's just get rid of all that. Use coupon tags, use them in your reporting, and make your life a lot easier. So pro tip from your guy James here. So we'll move beyond the coupon report and we'll talk a little bit about email statistics. This one relates to our Email V2 product, emails that have been sent from Email V2. This will show you how your emails are performing, whether they've been opened, delivered, bounced, been reported as spam, things like that. The biggest thing to know about this is it shows by day only. So it's not going to show by email, it's going to show by day. So if I send 4 emails out on the 1st of September, all of my data down there is going to show me a daily report of my overall email. So it's going to show me all 4 of those emails rolled together. But if you send your emails out on certain days, I know I sent my newsletter out on the 4th. I can look at the 4th and I can track my clicks, my deliveries, my bounces, things like that. We also have a couple of different classifications in Email V2. That's the transactional and marketing emails. So you typically use marketing for your promotion, your transactionals for things that relate to your race kind of in a more transactional way. This allows you, using the email classification toggle, you can switch between each of those tools there to pull the emails that are coming from certain accounts. So again, it's a great tool. It is by day, so you have to be aware of that, but it's a great way to kind of track and see how your emails are doing and kind of what the overall delivery looks like. And then the second to last topic we'll go into here will be our financial reports. And this is really important because this is how you can track the money coming in and the money going out in your race. So the first place that you find when you come to financial and then summary is your financial summary. This kind of shows you just an overall snapshot of how your race is doing financially, how many transactions have occurred, the processing fees that are subtracted from the overall transactions, and kind of all your information here. We'll dive into all these sections here right now. So let's talk about transactions first. The transactions toggle at the top is your total transactions that have been charged to customers. And so that's a real-time toggle. It's going to show you all the dollar amounts, including processing fees, including sales tax, including money paid directly to charities. But we show that money as red subtracted line items there to let you know that that's money that's not being paid to you. That money has been paid elsewhere. And so that blue transactions link there, you click on that and drill into it to get a more kind of granular view of your transactions. But this is just a quick stop to see kind of the total transactions in your race. Directly under that will show you any refunds that have been issued. So that would be any refund that had been automated through referrals or fundraising or just issued by you using that edit button or the manage button on the participant report. That's shown as another red minus sign because that's being subtracted from the total transactions, and all these red minus items are being subtracted from the total transactions to eventually present you with the amount of money that you're owed and the amount of money that you're to be paid. The section underneath the refunds area is our holdbacks section here. This will show you any money that's being held back into reserve for your race. If you have those automated refund tools set up, we automatically hold back some money to handle those refunds. So that'll be reflected in your holdbacks. If you click that holdbacks button, that'll take you to your refund reserve, where you can release the money in your reserve at the end of the race, so that it's not just held indefinitely, or you don't have to. You can just leave it there. But the holdbacks section on your financial summary will show that, and the adjustments will show chargebacks and money that's been added to the refund reserve externally, funds moved from other races, and check payment fees and stuff like that. So this is this is most commonly used for chargebacks if you have participants that are executing chargebacks. You can kind of see the adjustment amount there that's been levied on your payment account or on your race, and understand the reason for it, when it happened, and why it happened. And then at the very bottom of the summary is the kind of the net there. After we've gone through all those subtractions from the total transactions, we finally come to the amount of money that's owed to you, the race, and that's displayed as the money owed to race. And we show the amount of any payments that you've received as a minus sign, because we've taken that money and sent it to you. And then we'll show you the balance owed still yet from that delta. That money may be slated to be paid in the next payment. It may not. You want to use your payment account to track your next payment. Track your next payment date and the amount. But that's your financial summary. Underneath the financial summary is the detailed summary area of your financial reporting. This allows you to get kind of more specific information on how much money you've made through registration fees, how much money you've made through add-ons, coupons, and event transfers, donations, things like that. Each of these items you can click into and drill in to get a more detailed view of the of that line item. And then when you want to kick this out into an Excel, you can click that green download in Excel button. Again, this is just all available under the financial summary section, and allows you to kind of get as much financial information as you need to perform whatever task you're doing. This is by far the best place to do any sort of financial tracking. I have a lot of customers that try to use the participant report to do that, and I just wouldn't recommend it. I always recommend coming to the financial section and the summary page to do all of your financial reporting, because this is where the math is happening. Within the financial section, you also have your sales tax reporting. This will show you the amount of sales tax that we've charged for different states that you may be conducting business in, and also kind of gives you the different jurisdictions that sales tax has been charged in, whether it was in a certain county or a state or something like that. You can get a lot of great sales tax information on this. Most states these days are marketplace states, and so RunSignup receives that sales tax money on your behalf and remits it to the state. But if you just want to keep up to tabs on the sales tax being charged in your race, this is a great spot to do it. Within the financial tab, we also have our event insurance reporting. We've recently partnered with Protect to be our insurance provider, and races do get a certain amount of revenue share for each insurance policy that is purchased. So I encourage you to turn it on. It's a benefit that you can add to your registration, and allow your participants to purchase insurance to protect their registration in the event that they can't make it. And using this report, you can see the information related to the event insurance purchases that have happened in your race. Some of the columns in here that are really useful are registration ID and the registrant name, so you can see who purchased it, the policy, which is the type of policy that they've purchased, exists under the policy column. The policy ID will give them their actual ID for that policy, coverage amount, the amount that they paid for premium, the amount of that premium that we've shared with the race as a revenue bonus for you guys, when it was sold, when the purchase was completed. A lot of times when they purchase insurance, there's an additional step that they'll have to take with the insurance company, so that can tell you if the purchase was completed or not, whether it was canceled, and things like that. And so you can search for policies here by using first name, last name, email, and phone. In this particular instance, I'm showing Protect and Allianz as tabs. Allianz is our legacy provider. We used to use to provide insurance. If you sold those, you can still access that information by clicking the Allianz tab. Great, and then the final section here that we'll look at will be our race day reports. So these are the reports that relate to the check-in app and RaceJoy. The race day check-in app, if you're not using it, I highly encourage you to do so because it allows you to quickly and easily check your participants in at the race, track and see who's showing up and who isn't showing up to get an idea of your attrition rate, and also provide, if you're doing this at an expo, provide, valuable information for how many folks have come through your expo for your sponsors. So under the race day tools, race day check-in, and then check-in stats tab, you can view this information. Again, you can update this report by event date at the top there, but we'll show you kind of a graphical display of the check-ins, when they occurred, and by which device checked them in, because these devices, every individual volunteer should be using their own device with their name associated with it, so you can see, who checked people in, who was assigning bibs. It kind of helps you triage things if you need to on the back end. But the bar graph on the right will show you kind of how you, or not the bar graph, but the pie chart there on the right will show you how many folks have checked in, how many have yet to check in. And you can also use those green buttons and red buttons to download your checked-in participants and download the folks who have not come in yet. You can also download your bib assignments for check-ins if there's an issue with needing to verify bib numbers that were assigned during check-in. And then at the very bottom of that section, we'll show you each event that exists in your race and how many folks have checked in for that event and how many have not, and then show you kind of the percentage of what you're looking at for folks who are going to show up to race. Underneath that section of the check-in stats report, we'll show you some more graphical displays that can show you kind of your expo activity, I guess. It's a great way to know like when to, like in for future years, like when you want to have maybe more support at your check-in booth, and kind of when folks are typically showing up at your race. And you can configure this by device, so you can kind of drill into each individual device and see how many folks they were checking in and when. So I mentioned before I go into RaceJoy, I mentioned that you can add that the check-in information to the participant report via the hidden fields tab to get to kind of pull that information into the participant report, so you can kind of see when a specific participant was checked in and by whom. So it's great to use in conjunction with that stats report. And if you're one of our races who is using our RaceJoy product, you can use race day tools, RaceJoy, and usage to pull graphs on the number of folks who have signed up as participants using RaceJoy and number of folks who have signed up as spectators. And you can also get the information on who was tracked, how many timing alerts were set out, how many cheers were delivered, and also get some sort of website traffic information from the app itself. A lot of those banners and different things on the app can take people back to the website, so we do track that traffic, and you can view that traffic here. One of the cool things with RaceJoy is those banner ads. You can work with sponsors and put a sponsor banner ad on the app and have them sell that as a part of your event sponsor package that they're going to be displayed on your RaceJoy app. So it's a great way to be able to provide some proof of value for those banner ads by using that app event analytics report at the bottom of that screen. So a lot to cover. I know we went fast, but this is recorded, so feel free to come back in and look at any of our slides and revisit anything. If any of you have questions at this stage, feel free to continue to add them into the questions tab. I'm going to check in with Ann here and kind of see how we're doing. Do we have anything that's really outstanding, Ann, that's come in, or any common questions that need to be addressed at this moment?
I think there's one that somebody asked, as far as, if for the donation report, if somebody donates anonymously, can you see their name, the donor's information in that donation report?
Yeah, that's a great question. The anonymous thing is for public facing, for those donation lists and things like that. We do collect that information, so you will be able to pull that. The only time that you won't be able to pull donation information from a donor is if you're using our Fundraiser our donations integration with Facebook. Facebook provides those donations into the report, but they'll only show up as Facebook donation. You won't get any donor information from Facebook.
Other than that, I think that's most of the other questions were went off and answered.
Great. Well, I mean, Ann, you're an account manager here too. Do you have anything that you'd like to add here? Any favorite reporting tips that you'd like to contribute here before we sign off for the day?
My favorite report is the participant report. I love it. I love being able to customize it to whatever fields that I need for a race. So that's my favorite report. But you know, yes, and just as a reiteration, this recording, this webinar will be sent out within 24 to 48 hours to the email address that you registered for the race or registered for the webinar.
Great. Well, I guess we can check the questions tab and see if we've got a couple have come in here. Well, it looks like these are just responses to you, Ann. So I guess with that, thank you all for attending. It's been lovely sharing my beautiful office here in Boulder, Colorado with you for the afternoon. And if you have any other questions or if things come up about reporting that you guys want to have addressed after kind of revisiting this webinar, feel free to reach out to our info team at info@runsignup.com or your assigned account manager. We're all ready and willing to help you answer any of your reporting questions or needs. Great. Okay, well, thanks again for coming, everybody. We look forward to seeing you guys down the road.
Oh yeah, that's like no contest, man. Anyway, thank you all for watching that video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell and all. That way you'll be alerted when we post new content. And if you want to help us out, please click that thumbs up button and we'll see you in the next one.